Okay, can you see what happened? We got like 5 inches of snow, and I am gonna work on finishing cutting out these cabinets, and then Kelly's gonna come, we're gonna go run some errands, and I'm gonna come back and I'm just gonna be painting and staining probably the rest of the day. So let's get to it. Hey everybody, if you're new to the channel, I'm Heather and I am building a shipping container tiny home and an entire homestead up here in northern Idaho. Today I'm actually building drawers and organizational drawers for this tiny house kitchen. I'm trying to really make this an efficient tiny space, and because I really like to cook and homestead and can and all of that kind of stuff. So these first drawers are just basic drawers that I'm putting together. I've never done this before, so this is brand new to me. And doing it in this really small space has been pretty difficult. One of the things that I would suggest or recommend is to paint them and polyurethane them before you put them together. Or if you're just going to polyurethane your pieces that you've cut out and then put them together, because that process has been a little bit hard unless you can spray everything. I can't because I'm in this small space, but these went together a lot easier than I really thought they would, and now I'm pretty excited to be able to do some more organizational stuff. So I do want to talk about today's sponsor, and I'm going to kind of do this a little bit different where you guys are seeing me use this table saw, and I don't have the guard on it. I don't have any of those things on it. I am going to do a disclaimer here that you need to use equipment the way you feel comfortable doing it. I don't have the safety guard on, and you really should have that on, especially if you're new to using this type of equipment. But I needed to use this as an actual table. As you can see, I'm painting on it. I'm doing everything on it because I have such a small space. So this is the VEVOR 10-inch table saw with stand. It's electric. It plugs in. It does use quite a bit of power. It's a 5,000 RPM, 25-inch rip capacity. This thing has been fantastic to use. Now I'm going to compare it to Harbor Freight because that's where I actually purchased my other table saws, and this is 100% better than the Harbor Freight table saws and within the same price range as them. So it does cut at various angles. You pretty much see me here doing all straight cuts, but you can angle this and do angle cuts. It has a adjustable full-length parallel fence with a measuring guide rail. Ensures reliable and smooth rip cutting every time, and I definitely found that to be true myself. You can set the blade to any desired angle between negative 60 degrees to regular 60 degrees for beveled cutting. So this table saw does come with a security shield to prevent sawdust from lingering in the air, a blade guard which prevents the blade from popping out after breaking. If the machine is overheated, the copper wire automatically starts overload protection to save the machine from damage. This portable table saw is helpful for wood cutting and various DIY woodworking projects. You can process logs, cut wood boards, or make furniture. Whether in the shop or outdoors, it will become your #1 cutter helper. It's equipped with a 15-amp motor to cut all kinds of wood at 5,000 RPM. The 25-inch rip capacity allows it to tear through large lumber with ease, whether you need to work outdoors, make furniture in the wood shop, or are interested in woodworking. DIY, VEVOR is the one that you can trust. I have been personally very impressed with the quality of machines that I have gotten from them. They have sponsored a few of my videos and a few of my projects. All the way to a milking machine that I got for milking my goats and sheep. And I have personally purchased a wheat grinder to grind my own wheat from them, and now this table saw. And the quality of all three of those pieces of equipment have been really good in my opinion. As you can see, I've used this table exclusively for this project, and making all of these cuts, they've been very accurate. It has made making this kitchen organization really easy and really simple. And I'm so thankful for their sponsorship and the fact that they continue to support my channel. If you're looking for any kind of machinery, look at VEVOR, check their stuff. They ship out very quickly, and this isn't just because they sponsor me. I have personally purchased with my own money the things from them, and they've gotten to me very quickly. So it will for you too. But I highly recommend that you check them out. I will put a link in the description for this particular table. It's pretty fantastic. One of the things that you did not see was that it folds up and can be put away, which has been really awesome for this situation that I'm in here, or if you're transporting this in your truck. So basically, I put the bottom in on the wrong side, so I had to repaint this section and resand it. I'm going to come back, you'll see in next week's video, I polyurethane everything and actually put everything in. So again, if you're new to this channel, this is a vlog style filming. So I'm just taking you along as I'm doing the project, and I'm wanting to inspire you, and I hope that that's something that actually happens. When I started putting these together, I actually just did the pocket holes. But then I found that it didn't line up correctly. It would move as I was putting the screw in. So I actually came back and started putting a little nail in with the nail gun, and that would hold it in place since I don't have a lot of clamps. And that worked really, really well, and I got better joints. And then I would come back and use the pocket holes and screw everything in, and it held it together, and it was fantastic. I did not want to have to purchase the finished, I don't know what it's called, but anyway, you iron it on and you finish your edges with actual a wood looking thing. Someone help me out here, words are hard. So I ended up painting this, and I wanted to see how it did, and I'm actually pleased with it. It looks nice, it blends. I mean, obviously someone who does this professionally, and if you were paying somebody to do something, I'm sure you would do it differently, but it definitely blends a lot better, and it'll work fine for what I'm doing here. You can see here on the end whenever I painted it how it just blends right in. So I did not personally feel the need to spend the extra money to purchase that tape to finish these edges out that way because I'm painting. If you were staining, you would definitely want to do it different. One of the other things that I'm going to remind you guys of, because I messed up on it, you're going to be able to see my connections here where the screws, my pocket holes, because I did not put it on the front and the back. They put them on the side pieces. And so if they were on the front and the back, you would not see that. It would be a really nice, smooth finish there on my edges. At this point, I don't really care. It's not going to bother me at all. But when I do my barn dominium and I'm building more cabinets in the future, I'm actually going to really pay attention to that, so that you don't have that. I can come back in with plugs and plug those, and that is most likely what I will end up doing, so that that's all finished out and smooth, and then you just sand it down and paint it, and then you wouldn't have those holes here like you see on these particular, but I did them all the exact same way, so I have that problem with all of them. So definitely think about that. The attention to detail is kind of a big deal. What I'm doing here with this drawer is, this is my utensil drawer, and I wanted, it's about 5 inches thick, and I wanted to be able to do 2 layers of utensils. So most likely this top box that I'm building right now will be for my forks and knives and spoons and such, and then underneath will be more of my spatulas and whisks and things like that. So I do a lot of cooking from scratch, so I have a lot of different gadgets that I definitely use on a regular basis. And this was a very, very simple box to put together, and I absolutely loved how it turned out, and it slides really well, and I was pretty happy with it. I always was extremely intimidated by cabinet building or building these things, and I'm glad that I just dove right in and started doing it, because I think these turned out great and I saved a huge amount of money. When I do the final walkthrough of this kitchen, we'll break down the cost of every one of these. But I know when I was looking at drawers, they were $250 up. And that was just not going to be in my budget. And I used 3/4 inch plywood. It has one finished side, one rough side. And they were $55 for a 4x8 sheet. And I think I bought 5 sheets and I built all of the stuff that you're seeing, not only here, but in some of the other videos. So that is quite a big difference. Basically, I bought all the plywood for one it costs the same as one shelf, basically, or one drawer. So to me, it is absolutely worth it, and it was a lot of fun learning this project and doing this project. I do know that it's going to be quite a bit easier to do when I have my shop and I have everything set up and I have room to really lay things out better, and that it'll be a little bit more professional. But as far as diving in and just learning how to do it, that's kind of how I learn. I can watch somebody do it all day, and I did watch all the videos on how to build boxes and how to build drawers and cabinets and such. And so that gave me a launching point, but there's nothing better than actually just doing it and learning from it. And you're going to make some mistakes, at least I do. But mistakes are always fixable. So don't be intimidated by challenging yourself and doing something like this. You'll save a lot of money. You'll learn a lot as you go along, and you'll get better as you go along. When I was looking at these little drawers, they were like $25 to $35 a piece. And I mean, I built this with basically scraps, so it was pretty much a free thing. And it does exactly what the store-bought one would do. So we got a ton of snow again, like 7 or 8 inches. It's now turned into rain. So it's basically a slushy mess out there. But I've gotten my 3 drawers done. I just need to put them in. I'm super excited about that. It's the first time I've ever done drawers, and I think they turned out pretty good. Definitely some things I can do better. But I got quite a few more to do, so I'm sure I'll learn by the end of this process. So this is like super exciting to me. There are baby bunnies in there. There's 1, 2, 3 way over there. They're so cute. I hope the cat doesn't get them. The fact that they've lasted this long is a good thing, because the cat can fit down into the rabbit hole and get it. But I haven't seen the cat in a bit. But I have seen prints. So, I don't know. We'll see. But babies. Guess what? I got the light added. I did buy 2, but I'm just going to start with this one and see if that brightens it up enough. And super excited, but we're having a really pretty day outside. Look at that. Some baby bunnies came up out. So spring is trying to show itself here, but gorgeous out there tonight. This morning, I mean. Chloe, are you having a breakfast? Are you breaking the fast, darling? Yes, you are. She doesn't want me to steal her food. So I am working on, actually, let me back up, not trip and fall. So I have not put these in yet, as of yet. I did get the slides in yesterday, so we'll be adding those in, and then we're working on this cabinet here. I got my KitchenAid lift right there that came in yesterday. So getting super excited to finish off these 2 lower cabinets. And I think I'm going to try to do my trash can pull also, make that box for it. These are the 3 cabinets that I've kind of figured out my organization. I have this one last cabinet, and I want your guys' opinion on what exactly would you put in here. So that's this section right here. It is 30, basically a 30 by 30 space. I'm really trying to focus on how exactly am I going to use this kitchen so that it is legitimately the most efficient. And obviously I'm going to be gardening. I'm going to be bringing in fresh vegetables. And I personally do not like things sitting on the counter. So I was thinking a couple of crates that could go on one side of this that could house potatoes, garlic, onions all winter long, and then during the summer, whenever I bring in fresh veggies, I can put them in there to sit until I decide what I'm gonna can out of them, or just using them straight out of there. I'm really not one of those people. Like cucumbers, I do like really cold, so I would put those in the refrigerator. But when I'm picking just a bunch of stuff, I used to just bring the basket in, set it on my counter, and then work out of that, make a decision what we were going to eat for the day, and then the rest of it I would can for later. Since you're picking fresh stuff, you know, basically every day when you're gardening, you're going out there and picking things. So that's what I was kind of thinking right there. And then the other side, I was thinking, another thing that I'm going to be using this space for is when an animal is processed, breaking it down and so into specific things. So I definitely want a drawer that I can have my plastic wrap, my aluminum foil, my parchment paper, my butcher paper, all in that drawer so that I can easily open it, pull that out, and have that right there. But then I have that whole underspot. So tell me what you think you would use this, how you would set this up. Right now I'm just thinking of dividing it in half and using those, putting 3 pull-out drawers that can hold, or at least 2 that can hold vegetables, and then the top, maybe. I don't know. Give me your opinion. Let me know in the comments. Thanks. Okay, for those of you that have actually been watching this series, you know that I've been talking about the 12 steps of AA, that I'm a recovering or recovered alcoholic, and I have 8.5 years of sobriety, and I'm sharing my journey. And I hope that this helps anybody. If it just helps one person, and sometimes just the information helps. But we are talking about step 6 and 7 together because they both really go together. The principle of step 6 is willingness. The thing is we learned in step 5 what all of our character defects are, and then what do you do with that? That's what step 6 is about, is focused on acceptance, which involves accepting character defects exactly as they are, and then being willing to let them go. I think the biggest thing in my life was, some of the things are good. They're good to have in your life, but when they control your life, then it's a character defect. And it's hard to look at those, but when you do, or when I did, that gave me the power to decide what did I actually want to change and do differently in my life, because what I had been doing hadn't been working for me very well. So by learning the different things, like my biggest one is expectations. And if I'm expecting somebody to act a specific way, then I will act a specific way, which probably causes that person to act the way that they do. And I can help make the situation a lot better by changing that. Just changing the way that I do things and how I do things. I don't know if I'm explaining this right or not. But if we carry that old baggage and we hold on to it constantly. So step 6 is about willingness to change. And that's huge, because if you're not willing to do something different, you're not going to do something different. And it really does go back to accepting the fact that the way I did things before did not work for me, and that I really truly want a life of serenity and true friendships that I really do connect with and that are active people in my life. And that is what I think this particular step, where this particular step leads me. So I have to focus on my attitude, and that's one of the most important aspects of step 6, is establishing the right attitude. And I definitely do this step more than once. I do it on a daily basis. And I have to be very specific about my character defects. And sometimes that can seem, especially if you deal with a self-worth issue, and you have to go with this, you know, as I'm changing and I'm growing and I'm acknowledging this character defect. I'm not wallowing in this character defect. And I think that there is a very fine line there with that. And you also during step 6, practice acceptance. And I don't think that's only acceptance of other people, it's acceptance of ourselves. You know, I can accept that I have this character defect, and I can accept that it's going to be an ongoing battle to change. You know, it's not instant. And I do think that other people struggle with this with the alcoholic in their life, because we'll fail. We'll fail every day. And that's why you have all of these steps, because we learn to apologize, we learn to mean it, and we learn to do something different. And we do that through each one of these steps having just as much of importance as the other. So step 7, so now I've accepted my character defect, and now in step 7, I'm going to ask my higher power for that defect to be gone. So in step 7, I'm going to ask my higher power for the willingness to be ready. And I know that that may sound strange to some people, because sometimes we're in this life and we're all about instant gratification, and instantly this should be gone and should be taken away. But if you think about changing an eating habit, or stopping smoking, or stopping shopping addiction, or any of those things, every time that desire comes to you and you feel that I want to drink, I want to smoke, I want to eat when I'm not hungry, or eat unhealthy things, or I just want to buy this thing because I get gratification from it immediately, we have to stop and say, whoa, wait a minute, that's my character defect. I'm doing this because I'm either feeling something else, loneliness, rejection, self-worth issues, any of those things. And then you have to say, no, I don't want to do that. God, please take this from me. And that is a whole process. And then you have to sit in that, and you have to let that marinate in your soul, so that you're not doing those things out of a reaction to something else. You know, a lot of these other addictions are really difficult because you have to do them in your daily basis. You have to eat, you have to purchase things, you have to, I don't know what the other ones would be, but those are two of the main ones that I see people definitely deal with. You know, with alcohol and smoking, you just abstain. But what happens with your emotions after you've abstained from the thing? They kind of go wild, and you have to sit in that for a moment, and you have to say, wow, this is what I'm doing. I want to change this because I don't want to feel this anymore. And I want serenity. And then ask for that. So that's what 6 and 7 are about. I think they've made the biggest difference in the quality of my life and when I whirl out about stuff. So I do want to thank you guys for allowing me to share my story. And like I've said before, if you think it would help somebody, please share with them. And definitely, if you want to chat and you're in this same space, or you have lived with somebody that's an alcoholic or an addict, please email me, please message me. I definitely would respond and take the time to chat with you about it, because we need each other. Now let's get back to this particular project that I'm doing right now, which I have cutting boards, and I wanted a place to put them. So I was looking on Pinterest, which is where I get a lot of my ideas, and decided to make this cutting board drawer. And it's just a little skinny drawer that you can slide your cutting board into. And I actually messed up on it a couple of times, and I fixed it off camera because it was just a size thing. Like, I had to take it all apart and redo it again, but it was pretty simple concept. My one cutting board is huge. It's actually the cutout from when I put in my kitchen sink into my butcher block countertop. And so I'm fitting one to that. So I have one space that's really big, and then I have another space that's a lot smaller. And I do have another cutting board that I really like. It's a bamboo one, and a bunch of little plastic ones fit inside it. And, you know, so when you're doing fish or vegetables or, you know, things like that, you don't want to kind of cross-contaminate if you're cutting up a bunch of stuff. So I'm really hoping that that one will fit in this other space. I don't know if it will or not because I have it in storage, but I do have some other smaller ones that I know that will fit in there. I'll be able to slide them in. I do think one thing I didn't do was add a stop so they could like slide way back. But that is 2 inches thick, so I should be able to slip my hand in there and go get anything. Otherwise, I have grandchildren and they have small hands and they could slip their hands in there. So after I put this thing together, I decided that we carry a lot of food outside and we eat outside basically all summer. And so I decided that I wanted to put a tray holder right next to this so that I would have a place for a couple of trays. So I made just a small tray. I ended up making it deeper than I think I want it, so I'll probably go back and trim that up. And it's really difficult for me to do handles in this space because I can't really clamp things down. I don't have a work table. So I think I also will go back and add a cutout handle for those. Now what I'm working on here is my trash can cabinet. I want it to pull in and out and have a space behind the trash can where I can put the box of trash bags and the couple of different trash bags that I have. Usually I pull it out of the box and I put it in the bottom of the trash can, and then you can just easily pull the trash bag up and put it on, and you don't have to go searching for it. But I always like to have one in the bottom of the trash can and the other on a replacement box behind it. So I like to keep things together, and that's what I'm doing with this particular drawer, is setting this up. Now, I don't get to it in this video, but I will in the next video, where I make a drawer above this that holds my paper towels. So in the front, you'll have a paper towel that space that you can actually access the paper towels without getting into the drawer, and then there'll be storage behind it that the paper towels can sit. Now for long term, I eventually want to move away from using paper towels, but I can still make a holder that looks just like the paper towels that your cloth towels can fit on, and you can still access them that way. And then the replacements again could fit in the back part of the cabinet. But have you ever had one of those days where you just struggled, like everything went wrong? That was this drawer. It messed with me so much. And you know, I had a specific space that I had to work in with, and it's a very small space beside my sink, and that was the spot that I wanted to add this in. And so I was working within these dimensions, and I don't know, things just weren't going right. So I ended up having to do taking this apart a couple of times and putting it back together. But in the end, it actually does work out, and I think this is going to be a really neat drawer to have. I'm actually really excited about the top part with the paper towels, because again, I don't like things on the counter, and I want to be able to just have this out of the way, easy to get to, almost a hands-free type thing where you can pull out your paper towel and use it. I use a lot of those right now, but like I said, I definitely want to move away from those and move into cloth, but that drawer will still work out great. Now, one thing I didn't do with this one, because I was just kind of frustrated and at the end, is I didn't sand and paint it before I assembled it. And so I am absolutely going to have to go back and sand this and paint this while it's all assembled. But I do have to tell you, this table saw does not have a dado blade. I think that's what they're called, where you can, it makes a wider cut so that you can slip your bases in. But what I just did is, as you saw me do it just a minute ago, I just ran it through and scooted it over and ran it through and made that dado cut, and then was able to put the bottom part of the drawer in that dado cut, sandwich it all together with the sides, and that worked out really well and wasn't difficult. It takes a little bit more time. You can see it here on the side now as I'm putting these together, slipping right in there. So that is still doable even if you don't have the dado blades. It just takes a little bit more time and effort, and that's fine. I have time and effort. I don't have money. So this works out well. And if you're wondering what I'm watching in the background, it's the Flash series on Netflix. I just kind of have it running in the background for noise. They do have a tendency to get a little ridiculous as they go along through the movies, but it's good background noise. I'm going to talk about this nail gun in my next video. It's been fantastic. But it's definitely a sponsored video, so I'll go more into detail with it. And then whenever I do my last video on the entire kitchen, I will have links again to all of these tools that I've gotten and that I've used. And it's made putting this together a very doable project, even with the minimal amount of tools. Like, I don't have a lot of stuff. I don't have my big shop done, and I don't have all of the finishing tools and stuff, and I'm still able to do this. So if I can do it, you definitely can do it too. So here's where I'm just custom fitting this to the size trash can that I have. And you can make this any size that you want. And again, I've used 3/4 inch plywood. My bottom drawer is 1/2 inch. But I want to thank you guys for supporting me and hanging out. I hope you've enjoyed this series, and definitely subscribe to follow the rest of the journey.